I told her that the home inspector is going to inspect my home. I will not be there. So do you mind going? She said, oh, of course, I would like to be there because I'm going to manage the property. Thank you for inviting me. So they showed me with the video and it was really nasty, but she kept quiet. She wanted me to say something. And they asked me, do I like it? I said no. She said, I'm glad you said no, because had you said yes, I would have told you to say no.
Welcome back, everyone, to another interview on Real Real Estate Deals. Today, I have a new friend, Francisca Epale, who is a new friend introduced to me by my other friend, Jeff Ginsburg. We're all fellow Toastmasters. She happens to be a distinguished Toastmaster. If you know, you know. That is something to be highly respected and regarded. Welcome, Francisca.
Thank you for having me, Sonny.
Wonderful. Let's dive right in. How did you first get interested in real estate investing?
How did I get first interested in? I had friends who were real estate agents and real estate investors, and there was one day in 2021, November, I attended a webinar, November 2021, how to pay off your Christmas debts without using any of your own money. So that intrigued me. So I
That
went on,
that's intriguing. Tell us about that.
yeah. So that really excited me. It was a mortgage broker who was presenting, and he told us how you can pay off your debt without using any of your Christmas money. I mean, I'm sorry, how you can pay off your Christmas debt without using any of your own money. What he was trying to tell us in a nutshell, you can refinance your home in a kind of hidden way. So you refinance your home. It means that when you have stayed in your property for a number of years, it appreciates in value. Then you take out the equity and you can buy another property or you can pay down your debts. So that's what he was trying to say in a nutshell. That is one way I got interested in real estate. Another way, I attended the Toronto Women's Club by Cora Cristobal, and her mentor, Sunil Tolsiani, had an event the following week. So he invited us to it. And when I heard his story, I said, this sounds like a good idea to eventually invest in real estate. At that time, I was renting, so I was not in the right space and I did not have a full-time job then.
It always takes a while to get ready for something like that. So
Yes,
intriguing how to pay off your Christmas debt without without any of your own money.
yeah,
Sounds like a smart marketing mind really helping you to get interested.
yeah. And also, when I went I've attended many conferences. Sometimes they will throw books, free books, and I caught them. So this is one of them, The Secret to Real Estate Wealth, then Achieve, Secrets from Successful Entrepreneurs, and then The Secret to Wealth. So I read a lot of books on real estate, and I said, that is the way to do it. Warren Buffett says, don't wait to buy a real estate. He said, buy real estate and wait. And then Jim Rohn said, if you were born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, it's your fault. I don't want to die poor. I want to retire with money and leave money back for my nieces and nephew. Because I hear there's some people who, when they retire, they live more years than the money that they have. I don't want to be in that kind of a situation.
Tell us about the legacy you're wanting to leave because that is something that matters so much to you.
Okay, the legacy I want to leave, because I don't have children of my own. Unfortunately, God did not give me any children, though I was married once. I have nieces and nephews. I have two nieces and two nephews. I'm going to leave a legacy for them to create generational wealth, because they always say each generation should be better than the previous one.
I think it's a great way to think. It helps us get out of our own way. Sometimes when we're doing something just for ourselves or our own family, we don't break through our own fears, but when it comes to that bigger picture of paying it forward to the next generation, then we really say, you know what, I have to do this. It's not even for me. I have to find a way to overcome my fears and get involved in
Yes.
doing something bigger than I've done before. So in your case, how long did it take you to go and do your first deal after getting interested in real estate?
My first deal when I started November, January, February, March. I closed on March. March, was it March? Was it June? I think I closed June 1st. Yes, I closed June 1st.
So
Sorry.
just a few months.
Yes, a few months. Yeah. And I told my my mortgage broker that real estate is like pregnancy. He burst out laughing. He said, yes, only you don't have to wait 9 months. The reason I say real estate is like pregnancy is that in the beginning, when a woman is pregnant, she gets excited. In the beginning, when you want to buy real estate, you get excited. Then there are hiccups. The woman throws up. There's morning sickness. When you're buying real estate, there are hiccups. There are little challenges. And then once you get your keys, you're excited. Once the baby comes, you're excited. Then after that baby, you want to buy, you want to have more children. So you want to buy more property. So that's why I told him that real estate is like pregnancy. He said, I've never heard of that. He burst out laughing.
I've never heard that either. That's so interesting.
I made it up. It's my own my
That is
own
a
words.
Francisca Epale original.
Yes. Because I even Googled it. It doesn't exist. Real estate is like pregnancy. It doesn't exist.
What were some of the challenges and hiccups that you went through?
Some of the challenges is to get the right the right deal because I'm far away. My property is out of province. He showed me so many deals and I said no, I didn't like it. I looked at it, I read it up. It wasn't good. And it's hard to tell when you're far away. So he showed me about 25 properties, but none of them were appealing to me because this
What
is an
what made you say no to some of those or all of those?
because if they have like one bathroom or it wasn't good, just the appearance, because he showed me videos. Because since I bought it from afar, he showed me videos. They were not well kept. They were kind of nasty looking. So I didn't want to buy them. They were like underappreciated, devalued. I didn't want those. I
So
wanted something that, yeah,
one bathroom and not some of them just didn't look good.
yes. So what I chose finally was a condo with 2 bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms. So that would be good for 2 people, even if you're a husband and wife or 2 roommates. Each person has their own bathroom because in the morning, when you have to share one bathroom and you have the same schedule, it can be hard. But when you have your own bathroom, it's just a whole different ball game. So I remember when I rented, I had my own bathroom and it was so good. You have your privacy.
Did that make it easier to rent that when you finally got that place?
Yes, it made it much easier because it has 2 full bathrooms. She rented it very fast. And I asked the property manager, how did you do it so fast? She said, I've been doing this for 25 years. So she told me that even before they had finished painting it, because I asked her to paint the whole condo so that it will look fresh. She was showing some properties and they said, no, we don't like it. Do you have any other one? She said, yes, I have one, but we're still painting. She said, we don't care. We're going to look at it. And when they came, oh, it has a 2 bathrooms. Oh, we're going to take it. They got excited. It was mother and daughter. So even before the painting got finished, they accepted it.
That's a great story. That really goes to exactly what you were just saying about people getting excited.
Yeah.
I think especially family members, they want to live together, but they don't want to be in friction with each other. And so
Yes.
it's bathrooms is one of those things that causes friction, especially if they're getting
Yes.
ready at the same time in the morning.
Yes.
That's probably the biggest friction is in the morning when people are getting ready for school or for work.
Yes. Because I remember when I used to rent somewhere before I bought my place, my landlady only had one bathroom. And if you want to use a wash, she said that if it's that bad, use a bucket. If you have to go to the bathroom and I'm in the bathroom, use a bucket. And then when I'm done, you can throw it out. Who wants to do all that? You know, that's gross. But she said that's what she did.
That might be um, exaggerating just a bit, but that is something I guess you would have to do if you're in a in a pinch, right?
If you really wanted to go, yeah. Or sometimes I would go downstairs and use the bathroom in the women's room because they had a swimming pool and they had showers and they had the bathrooms. So sometimes I would go downstairs and
And
use it.
did you have to construct that separate bathroom, or did the place already have that when you bought it?
It already had it. It came with two bathrooms. Yeah.
Tell us also how you got some help in picking the property when you weren't there to see it yourself. How did you end up
Okay.
deciding on that?
The mortgage broker here had a team in that province. So he recommended me a real estate agent, and the real estate agent, he recommended me the property manager. Everything was easy for me. They just said, oh, I have a contact for this. Because my property manager has been a property manager then for 25 years. So she knows so many people. So it was so easy. It wasn't that hard. I just had to fill out paperwork and they tell me what to do and I follow.
That does sound easy. And you were telling me that your property manager actually went to see the property
Mhm.
along with was it the inspector?
House inspector, yes.
And that's not something I commonly hear about. So would you mind sharing that?
Yes, I told her that the home inspector is going to inspect my home. I will not be there. So do you mind going? She said, oh, of course, I would like to be there because I'm going to manage the property. Thank you for inviting me. So they showed me with the video and it was really nasty, but she kept quiet. She wanted me to say something. And they asked me, do I like it? I said no. She said, I'm glad you said no because had you said yes, I would have told you to say no.
And this is not the property you ended up buying.
No, not at all. No.
And how long was it after you said no to that property that you were able to find another property for her to go inspect
I
along with the
think
inspector?
about 2 months or so, 1 or 2 months. I can't remember exactly.
And so who was finding the properties for you to look at?
A real estate agent. The mortgage broker, whom I watched his webinar, has a team in that province.
Aha. So his team includes the agent and the property manager and all of that.
And the lawyer and everything. He had it all mapped out. He said, don't worry. I told him, how am I going to do? He said, I know what I'm doing. As I have refinanced your home, okay, I know because of the amount that you have, it will be good to use that province. I don't want to mention the province, it's personal. And he has a team there.
That's excellent. So I think many people that I know have who invested in properties, they are constantly just looking on their own or they're looking with an agent,
Mhm.
but they don't go and have the property manager that they're thinking of using go and look at it as well. Because in your case, it was very wise because you have a property manager who's very experienced
Yeah,
and will be actually managing that property and can
exactly.
tell you, is this a property worth managing or not?
Yeah,
So they actually were on your team in advance instead of you just buying a property and then trying to place it with a property manager and
yes,
hoping that they do a good enough job where you end up making money.
yes.
What are some tips? Now, you mentioned to me before we talked, before we got on here, that your property manager is one of the best
Yeah.
in business. What would you suggest to look for in a property manager? And what are some red flags that one might look for as well in a property manager?
A property manager, if you are far away, if you are in the same city, meet him or her face to face. But if she's far away, you should do a Zoom call and know how she looks like and watch her body language. Ask her questions. How long? I asked her, okay, tell me something about yourself. She said that she's been in the business for 25 years. But before I did that, I checked her out on LinkedIn to see whether what she tells me, it matches what is on LinkedIn. I checked her out on LinkedIn first, everything about her before. I met her on Zoom, and she was very confident, and so I chose her. And treat her well. Treat your property manager well. If he or she sends you the invoice for the property management fee, pay within the hour. Or if you're at work, as soon as you come home, pay. Don't dilly-dally because they watch you. Like the other day, the former tenants took away the forbes. So the property manager told me that the property manager for the building sent me an email saying that I owe $200 for the forbes. They only accept check. And this was Wednesday, I got the email, and the new tenants were going to move on Saturday. There's no way I can send them a check within 2 days. So I asked the property manager, look, they need me to pay $200 check. I cannot get the check on time. How are we going to handle it? She said, I will pay the check and then you reimburse me. So she paid them the check and she sent me the invoice and I paid her right away. So have that good rapport. Whenever she sends you the invoice within the hour, you pay her. Or if you cannot pay it then, you tell her that you're busy, I'll pay you by end of the day. So she knows when to expect her money.
That's great advice to really take care of not only your property manager, but take care of everyone you work with in a way that makes them feel cared for, in a way that they come to trust you, right?
Yeah. And also remember them for Christmas. Buy them a gift. And there was a time when she was supposed to send the invoice. I did not see it. I said, I received so many emails. I must have missed your invoice. She said, no, I did not send it because my husband is in hospital. So then I emailed her. So how is your husband doing? The next day I asked, so I sent her email 4 days in a row to ask her about her husband. So it's okay to get personal as well. She told me that she didn't send the invoice because her husband is in hospital. So I was asking her how her husband is doing. So I received the invoice late, but I understood. She explained to me. So communicate.
Speaking of communication, how does your property manager communicate with you in ways that make you feel like you really trust what's going on there because you don't get to see the property?
Email and text. If it's something very important, it's email. If it's a quick thing, it's text. And sometimes she will call me, but she doesn't like the call because she wants everything documented. I've talked to her before at the first time when we had to create rapport. The first 2 or 3 times, and after that is either text or email. So there's a trace.
And the documentation helps both of
Yes,
you, right?
yes, yes.
To remember what was said and what was done.
Yeah.
In case there's any misunderstandings, and it doesn't take many misunderstandings for
Yeah.
mistrust to creep in. So that's wise.
Yeah. So I asked her one day, what if one day I don't pay you? What are you gonna do? I'll stop working for you. I don't know. I'm just kidding. She just said it. I'll just stop working for you if you don't pay me. I said, no, I'm just joking. It's a joke.
I'd imagine by that time she understood that it was a joke. How did you get into the deal that you chose? Did you see any other deals that were like it? Or was
No,
this one did it just stand out so much from everything else that you had looked at?
it stood out because of the cash flow. Well, according to what the real estate agent said that it cash flowed, but afterwards I realized that there was some miscommunication. It was a negative 100. So when I told my real estate mentor, she said, don't sell it. 4 people told me that it's just $100. It's your first year. If it was $1,000, then sell it. Then the second year now, because I had bad tenants, she asked me, do you want me to renew the lease? I said, no, these tenants have given you a lot of trouble. So do not renew the lease. So she increased the rents and she got new tenants through a relocation company from South America. Then since she realized that it was a relocation company, she increased the rent again without telling me, but I just kept quiet. I said, okay, she can handle it. So there was a difference of $500. So now it's cash flowing in the second year.
How did you, this was a kind of a naive question, but how did you get bad tenants when you had a good property manager?
Well, I think because she was so anxious to fill up, she just wanted, yes, she's a good property manager, but sometimes things happen. You know, you could have a good property manager, and sometimes the tenants do not work out because people change. She said she did a reference and they gave her good references. But maybe the references came from a friend because people lie too about their references, right? They could ask a friend that, okay, oh, can you write me a reference? I need it for an apartment. So maybe they lied. So once in a while, these things happen. But in a way, I am happy they were bad tenants because now she's increased the rent by $500 and there's cash flow. So there was a video that I did, the positive side of having tenants from hell. I actually did a video on that. The
You can,
positive side is that you can kick them out and increase the rents.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you can find that video, I'd be happy to link it under this one when we post this, so people can
Okay.
check that out as well.
All right.
Or in
Oh,
retrospect, are there any tips you would have on screening tenants that you think could have avoided getting those bad tenants, or do you think it just can happen anytime?
in retrospect, we could ask them to do like a credit check as well. Ask them to do the credit check. They pay for it, and then they bring the paperwork, a credit check, so that you know their credit score, because your credit score tells you a lot about the person. You could do that. And if they say that, if they give them references, ask them, do you want to meet the person, the reference, physically and talk to them and see, because when you're going to question them, you're going to watch their body language. If they're lying, they're going to start doing that or twitching. That's another thing that you could do.
Those are good tips.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are probably things that many property managers don't take the time to do
Yes.
because they're busy or they're anxious to
Yeah.
fill the property, because ultimately property manager gets paid when
Yes.
someone's in there paying the rent, right?
Yes. She is busy because I asked her, how many properties do you have? She said 20. And she doesn't have an assistant. She does it all by herself. I think that's a lot of work, right? 20 properties to manage all by herself. I think that's a lot of work, but it's not for me to tell her how to run a business.
That's the downside of becoming popular and
Yeah,
being good at what you do. It can be hard to scale being good at what you do.
yeah,
So it is something to watch out for. I think that's a tip in itself, is even if somebody's good, ask them maybe how many properties that they might be managing, and how much time they realistically have to devote to your property, in case, especially in case if it's a smaller property and their overall the properties that they're managing, right?
yeah.
What other challenges did you go through with this property, either in acquiring it or in owning it so far?
The challenge is, okay, the home inspection. When they did the home inspection, the first time they made a mistake. And they said, oh, we made a mistake. Then they had to send me another email. And sometimes I will read stuff, I didn't understand everything. Sometimes they use legal language I didn't understand. And I have to ask, what does this mean? Yeah. And then another challenge is that I try to get hold of the property manager. When I call, they don't pick up. They only like email. Sometimes I want to talk to the person. It was hard to get hold of them, the property manager there. Sometimes we were playing phone tag. I wanted to tell her that I have a property manager. She will be handling my apartment. And another challenge that I have was the electricity. They had to pay electricity separate, and I had to contact the electricity company and put the names of the tenants. And I also put the name of the property manager as well, so that she has access to call.
Very logistical challenges, huh? Any other challenges you had? You mentioned to me a couple of repairs that you had that were semi-major.
Oh yes, I am. She said that, oh, something fell on the stove while they were painting, or something fell on the stove and the stove got broken. I said, can you send me a picture so I can see? And she showed me the picture. So she said that we need to get a new stove. So I said, okay. So she went ahead and then she told me the price and they showed me pictures of the stove. And she said, I recommend we get a new stove other than a used stove because we have painted the whole house. We don't want to bring in a used stove. I said, okay, purchase the new stove. So I gave them the store clerk my credit card number and they purchased it. Another challenge that I saw was oh, she said that the tenant broke the door and she said that, oh, the wind blew it and it broke by itself. But she knew it was the tenant. So they asked the tenant to pay, and the tenant said that she will pay. The tenant never paid. So the condominium board paid for the damage and then they billed me. And then I forgot because I was doing, I told her, please take care of it. She said she will. Then they increased it with the searcher and you know this fee when you don't pay on time, admin fee of $100 extra. And I said, oh, I totally forgot. Then I sent them a check. I sent her a text that I totally forgot there was miscommunication because I told them the property manager to pay it and then I will pay it back. And she said yes, but I think she may have forgotten. But I did not ask the property manager. I just felt maybe she forgot. I didn't question her. I just felt, let me just pay it and just let it go. So those were the
Yeah,
challenges. Yeah.
that's painful sometimes when that happens. Like, because
Yes.
not only the expense, but then you get
Mm.
penalized on top of
Yeah.
that.
Admit. So I just said, you know what, maybe she forgot. I don't want to be too harsh on her. Otherwise she might say, okay, I don't want to I don't want to manage your property anymore. So I just said, just let it go.
When something breaks and you need a new stove, how do you decide what to buy? Like, how do you decide what is low, what is too low end to buy, what is too high end, too fancy? How do you know what kind of stove to buy?
She makes a decision and she sends me pictures. So do you want this, this, or this? And you pick and I choose.
Oh, she just gave you like three options to
Yeah.
buy.
She goes to the store and looks at the stoves and she sends me the pictures and said, this is this price, and this price. And she tell me to pick one. And that's what I did. And then we make arrangements and I buy it and they ship it to the condo.
Buy and ship it and have them install it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to
Uh,
manage any of that from
No,
from
I
afar.
I pay for it. I send my credit card, the store will call me and I give them the credit card and I ask the store, may I have a receipt, please? And they send it to me via email.
If you were to do all of this over again with a new property, what would you do differently?
I would have it locally. If I had the money, I'll do it locally in the same time zone because where I'm doing it is out of province and it's a different time zone. So whenever they tell me a time, like I had a meeting with a lawyer to sign some paperwork, she wrote 9 a.m. So I asked her, is that 9 a.m. your time or 9 a.m. my time? She said, it's our time. So I had to calculate. So that means it is 11 a.m. here. So I would recommend if you have the money, do it same time zone. It gives you less stress.
Would you ideally do it in a location that is super close to you, like down the street, or
If I had, if I could have the means, yes. If it's down the street, it would even be better. Because if it's down the street, I could manage it myself.
oh,
I'm only having a property manager because it is out of the province.
so what all goes into property management that you feel like you could do it yourself versus having a professional property manager do it?
It depends. It depends on the property. You're right. A property manager is better because they find the tenants for you. Yeah, they find the tenants. So it's better to have a property manager because they, they handle it better. But I would be more at ease because it is locally, it is local. If something were to happen, like if there's an emergency and they want me to be there, then I can come.
That seems to be what I've heard from most people is that they prefer the property as close as they can have it so they can go over there if they want to. And
Mhm.
if the tenant is claiming that, something is broken, something is leaking, then you can take a look at it
Yeah,
before having to call a plumber and incur a big expense or and buy a whole new stove or whatever it is. It's like, well, let me come take a look and see
yeah,
see if it's really that bad and see if I can fix it. See if and a lot of the people that I've known who want to do that, they have some amount of skill, not a lot
yeah,
necessarily, but they have some amount of skill where they can fix certain things without having to call somebody and pay money. Because ultimately, like your margin is
yeah,
not huge a lot of times when you're buying a property then renting it out. Right.
yeah.
So
For
speaking of which,
example,
like how much of a margin would you recommend somebody have to account for vacancies and repairs?
emergencies and repairs, I will recommend you have at least let me see now. Okay, if I have like the cash flow, I'll give you an example. If I have a cash flow of $300, I recommend you put away $200 each month for emergencies, approximately. I'll give you an example. She said that the washer wasn't working, and when she hired um a technician to come and look at it, the man laughed. She said, "What's funny? It's a baby lock that's on the washer. That's why it's not working. You got to just do the the washer had a baby lock. I did not know washers have baby lock. Just have to do that, then it will work." So everybody laughed. It was so funny.
A baby lock.
On a washer. I've never heard of that. Have you?
I haven't, no.
That's interesting. Mm.
That's funny. Yeah, there's just all kinds of little things and sometimes it's the smallest thing that can just trip you up and make something not work.
Yeah.
Um, what is the minimum cash flow that you would look for in a property? Like, is there a certain amount, $300 you mentioned, or is it higher than that?
It depends. If it's a condo or if it's a multi, if it's like a duplex, this is just a condo, so 300 is fine. But if you're gonna go for a duplex or a triplex, like if you go for a triplex with 3 levels, you'll be getting three different kinds of rents. So the cash flow, of course, will be more. So you can't compare. Yeah. It all depends on the location too, the price. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. And you have to balance that against what you think are going to be the vacancies and repairs, right? So
Yes.
like, is this cash flow, is it going to account for that? Am I going to end up with like really a net positive cash flow after vacancies and repairs? And you have to estimate what those are going to be because you don't know, right?
Yeah. Because my condo was only vacant for 1 month. And when she found a new tenant, she's fast. She went to a relocation company. Yeah. From out of the country. Yeah.
Oh wow, out of the country.
Yes.
That's smart in a way. And you're up in Canada for people who don't know.
Yeah.
So out of the country for you could be someone from the United States moving to Canada.
The person was from Brazil. They're from
Oh,
Brazil. Yeah.
and
So they wanted to sign a 2 year lease. And she said, no, in Canada, we sign 1 year. She did it for 1 year because she's already thinking of increasing it, of course. After 1 year, you can increase it. But when it's 2 years, you can't increase it. She's a businesswoman.
man, she already increased it by $500 a month.
Yeah. But it is within uh, the comparables. The comparables, it means what the neighborhoods. The comparables is 2,000. And she said that it's always good to just make it $5 less. It looks cheaper and it is cheaper. 1995 instead of 2000.
Yeah, it's very psychological, isn't it?
Yes.
I think you were going to give an example of something and I cut you off. I'm sorry for that.
Yes,
Can you-
like it was first 14.95. The comparables was 15. So she removed $5. She always, and that's how she does her rent. They'll say, "Oh, this one is cheaper." It's just $5, but it adds up.
Yes. $5, well, $5 a month, that's mostly psychological, right?
Yeah,
14.95 a month is almost the same as 1,500 a month.
yeah.
So if you were going to do all this over again, is there anything else that you would change? You mentioned you'd
If I,
rather have it
it,
nearby, and you may even
yeah,
do property management yourself if it's nearby.
if I was to do it all over by myself, I would get a triplex so that I will get rents from three people because this was just a mother and daughter who left. But if it's a triplex and one person leaves, at least two other people will give you rent. So it's not that bad.
Would you extend that logic to say, well, it'd be better to get a 10-plex?
Yes, a tenplex, yeah, it would be better too. Yeah, of course. So I get rent from 10 units so that if one person moves, it's okay. It won't be that bad. Yeah.
Is that something you're aspiring to do multi? And that's what they would consider multifamily, right? Anything over.
Multifamily.
The interesting thing is, at least in the US, anything
Mm,
up to four doors or
yeah,
quadplex, fourplex is considered single family, which really doesn't make sense.
yeah,
But from a financing standpoint, it's considered single family because it's financed the same way with residential financing.
yes,
Commercial financing is anything five units and above, and
yes,
that usually has a balloon payment,
yeah,
meaning there's payments over 5 years, and then all of a sudden you have to pay off the entire balance, which is really tough.
yeah.
So the financing is very different. But what, in your case, what would stop you from doing a fiveplex or a tenplex or whatever multifamily that you wanted to do?
Or what would stop me from doing a tenplex is the finances. I just was watching a webinar and they said another way you can get real estate is to have a promissory note. We have what we call RRSP in Canada, which is a retirement registered savings plan. I don't know whether you're familiar with it. With this now, if you're a first-time home buyer, you can use up to I think it's 25,000 or 50,000 as a home buyer. And then they said that you can also use another person's RRSP, ask them to loan you the money, and you write them a promissory note. A promissory note is a piece of official paper saying that you promise to pay them back with interest. That one I did not know of until recently.
Yeah, then many people are willing to lend out the retirement money if they see that something is a good deal and they're lending it to someone they trust. So
Yeah.
if you had a friend who had retirement account money, um, what kind of what kind of deal would you go and pursue the tenplex or the multifamily with that?
I would like to, but I would like to have a joint partner to do it with. But the thing is, with joint partner, you must either have a lot of money or have the knowledge. So and then the two of you complement each other. Because this one that I was doing, I did not know what I was doing. I was just following what the mortgage broker said, do this. Okay, this man will call you, this person will call you. I had no clue. I said, okay. Then yeah. So
You got to
it
get
was
the experience, and we can all relate to that in life in general.
yeah,
So if someone was considering a deal like the one you did,
yeah.
what would you say other than the advice you've given already, which is really useful? Is there anything else you urge people to think about before they do a deal like that?
Yes, before you do a deal, to make sure that it cash flows, get opinions from four people to see whether they all tell you it cash flows and the amounts. Because the real estate agent is just there to make his commission. He can write up anything to make it cash flow, right? But you go and ask real estate four people who knows what they're doing. If you don't mind, these are the figures. Can you show me if it cash flows? Four people and let them all say yes and the amount. of cash flow you will get. That's what I would suggest you do. If
Ideally,
you
which four types of people would you go and ask?
real estate mentor, you should always have a real estate coach or a real estate mentor, another real estate agent, or somebody who is good, a friend who is good at real estate who has several properties. 4 people. That's what 3 to 4 I would suggest. And if they
So,
all say yes and it's the same amount, then you know that yes, they all won't be lying to you. Hopefully not.
so ideally, people that don't have a vested interest in, they don't have a conflict of interest in telling you the truth about that property, and you may even pay them for their advice because they're going to need to take some time and do the analysis and then come back to you with their
Pay
number.
them or take them
Mm.
out for lunch. Like I took out my real estate coach for dinner because she gave me advice I did not know. She told me that the condo that you have out of the city, now that you have had it for 1 year and you were with a B lender, now you can switch to an A lender. I said, oh, I didn't know. She said, well, now you know. So she gave me somebody, she referred me to somebody, and within 2 weeks, she switched it. So I said, I'm so grateful. I'll take you out for dinner. And I meant it. We, we booked a time, and she and her son, we went to the cake. She said, a fancy restaurant or cheap restaurant? I said, don't go cheap with me, a fancy restaurant. We went to the cake. Yeah. So you should show appreciation in cash or in kind. I don't need to give her money because she's a millionaire.
Wow. So the
Yeah.
gesture was much more meaningful to her than some extra money.
Yeah. That's my opinion. Yeah. And the son too was happy. He came along because the son too is doing real estate. Though he's a
That's
medical doctor, he's doing real estate too.
that's another great tip right there is find something that that person would value.
Yeah.
And I think so not only the gesture to go out to dinner, but also the ability to bring along the son who they want to mentor and to see real deals happening and
Yeah.
be part of that energy so that they can
Hmm.
make progress on their own journey. So
Yeah.
very, very well done there.
And when we got there, she said, I can pay half. I said, yes, I know you can pay half, but I'm treating you. As I said, I'm treating you, and I want to stick to my words. And I had a gift card, $100 gift card, so I didn't have to pay for the whole thing. It was all planned out. So,
Oh, you had a gift card as well.
yes, I'm in another business where I'm doing so well that each month they give me $100 gift card.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
If I was curious, what did A lender versus B lender? What were the differences between those lenders?
Okay, the A lenders are the banks. The B lenders, the A lenders are the banks, and they give you a better rate. The B lenders don't give you such a good rate. And when you are with the A lender, when you're with the bank, you don't pay the mortgage specialist. The bank pays them. But when it's a B lender, you have to pay the mortgage agents, and the interest rate is higher.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't familiar with that. There may be many other people that
Yeah.
get a new lesson from what you just said. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Any other advice that you want to give to people before we wrap up
Advice,
here?
if you have the means to buy, advice, if you already own a home, if you already have property, refinance it. Find out if you have equity in the home. Take it out and buy another property. Don't let the equity just be sitting there, just sitting there idle, not doing anything. Use the money. Take out the equity and buy another property. Okay? And you can either flip it or you can rent it or hold it, but use it up. Don't just let the equity sit there. Some people have equity and they don't know that they can use it.
I've been hearing that lately, especially with the market starting to top out and come down. Many of the smarter real estate investors are saying that same thing to say, hey, you have some equity, don't let it vanish.
Yes.
Take advantage of it while you can. Of course, be smart. You don't want to lose your house, but
Yes.
there's probably something there to be to be tapped into and invested elsewhere to diversify your portfolio.
Yes.
What kinds of deals are you looking for these days in case someone who's watching this knows of something or just likes who you are and what you shared and would like to partner with you on something?
Multifamily.
Multifamily, like we talked about,
Yes.
how many doors or how many units in a given property are you looking for minimum?
Minimum five, 5 to 10.
So 5 to 10 is your range
Yes. For now.
for now.
Yes.
Maybe
I
you'll
want
be the one with hundreds of doors later on.
I want to think big.
Thinking big is a good thing.
Yes.
So 5 to 10 doors. Any other parameters that you're looking for as far as market or cost or anything else?
I'm flexible. I can even go locally or in the US. US property is so much cheaper. A friend of mine sent me
Is
a
it?
picture in the US, in the South, especially in the South. You see somebody with a big mansion for 300,000. That's cheap. Here, that's what you buy a condo. In the US, you buy
Do
a
you mean the
big man.
southeast?
Yes, it's really cheap. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's not the case here in Southern California. This is also ironically, they don't call this the South, even though it is the southern part of the United States. But most of the time, when people say the South, they say they're talking about the East.
Yes.
So, but you're right. Some of these houses I see are just amazing, and they have land around them, and it's like, wow, and it's only 300,000 or 400,000 or something. It's amazing.
Or another thing that I'm willing to do are assignments. You know
Okay,
what's an assignment, right?
I'm
An
familiar with
assign
that, but go ahead and explain that to people. What
an
does that mean?
assignment is when you get, how do they call the paperwork again? I forgot the name. The paperwork, the contract. Okay, instead of when you sell it to another investor at a higher price, and then you get the difference. Sometimes it could be 5,000 or 10,000 or 20, 50. So if I could have somebody who can partner up with me and we can do assignments and we can split it. That's another option.
So, are you wanting to pay the assignment fee and to acquire property, or are you looking to find property and then assign it to someone else?
Both. I'm flexible.
You're flexible
Flexible.
on both ways of making money.
Yes. So long as I can make some extra money. Yeah.
All right. Well, how can people contact you, Francisco?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on social media every day. I'm in a program called the Mind Assistance Program. It's a personal development program, and I'm on Facebook every day. So they can find me on Facebook under Francisca Epale. I will not give out my email because I get like 500 emails daily. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram at Francisca Epale. I'm on LinkedIn as well. So you can just Google me and you'll see my name.
It's a unique name. It's not like Bob Smith or something like that. Well, Francisco, this has been awesome. You really shared so much openly about your real estate journey and your deal. I know I've learned from this, and I hope other people have as well. And I hope people do contact you. I hope people do deals with you. And I'd certainly be open to doing something with you in the future if something lines up. I know at
Okay.
least we can keep in touch. And thanks again for being here, Francisco.
Okay. Thank you for having me.